morning to all. My name is Sarthak Shinde. Today, on the occasion of the Gandhi Jayanti, we all have assembled here to celebrate the birth anniversary of the greatest man of all times, Mahatma Gandhi. Born in 1869 at Porbandar, Gujarat, this year in 2021, it is his 152nd birth anniversary of the man who was ahead of his times. His ideology of non-violence and ahimsa impacted the lives of many great individuals like Martin Luther King Jr. and still don't fail to influence our lives today. For the people of India, he was Bapu or father. Subhash Chandra Bose entitled him as the father of the nation. People also entitled him as Mahatma, meaning with the one of the greatest souls. Mahatma Gandhi was a lawyer by profession. At 19, he went to London to complete his higher studies. He studied law there. Post completion of his study, he went to South Africa with his wife Kasturba Gandhi and resided there for many years. He led a simple life but remained active in the movements which led to fighting injustice against the Indians living in South Africa. His struggle against injustice and unlawful acts began with the civil disobedience movement in Africa, which started in the year 1906. Gandhiji fought for 8 years in the South Africa against the Transvaal government concerning registration of Indians. Indians were made to pay unlawful taxes. During the movement, many Indians residing in South Africa were shot dead and many were jailed, left in severe atrocities. This journey from a simple man to a national leader was a remarkable one. Often in his practice days, some incidents left him questionable to his identity of an Indian man, whose country is ruled by another country. Once in the courtroom, Gandhiji was asked to put off his turban, which made him helpless to act nothing but leaving the courtroom. In addition to all this, there were several incidences where Gandhiji faced crucial discrimination by the white people just because he being non-white in a white country. So how did this fire of freedom ignited in him? The resistance of Gandhiji towards the colonial rule was unarrested until one train journey which changed the whole perspective and purpose of his life and gave India a leader like him. A train journey in South Africa where Gandhiji was thrown out of first class compartment just to not give his seat for a European passenger ignited the fire of freedom in him and made him return back to his India forever to free India. He had 3 models. So one of them was Satyagraha, which was ignited by the train journey. The second was he was very firm on what he said and what he told. One such example is when a woman came to Mahatma Gandhiji, she told that my child is always eating jaggery. Please tell him that do not eat jaggery. It is harmful to health. He listens to you very much. The Gandhiji told her that please come after 3 months. I would like to tell your child that don't eat jaggery after 3 months. Then the woman was shocked and came after 3 months with her friends to see what does Gandhiji tell to her child when after 3 months the Gandhiji told the child, my dear child, the eating jaggery is bad for health, so do not eat jaggery. The woman was surprised and told Gandhiji that why did you take 3 months to just say these 2 lines. Gandhiji told that if I own was eating too much jaggery, if I was still eating jaggery and the boy came to me and he saw me eating jaggery, it will be like I was telling lie to him and also he would start disrespecting me. Second, his third was he was very influenced by ahimsa. One such incident was when he was in South Africa. He was telling the doctors that you should not do violence and ahimsa and follow the path of ahimsa or non-violence. The doctors were very influenced by his speeches and everything. One day a calf came to the hospital. It had a injury in his tail which was very painful. Gandhiji saw that it had 3 to 4 surgeries. Then also the calf wasn't recovering. Then Gandhiji did that he asked the doctors, is there any injection which kills animals? The doctors gave Gandhiji the injection that was killing animals. What Gandhiji did was very interesting. He took the injection and killed the calf. Now, like you and me, everyone started to think it was ahimsa, and the doctors asked Gandhiji, why did you kill the animal? You tell us that you should not do ahimsa. Then Gandhiji told that, my dear, that is the main point. I haven't did any himsa. I have helped the animal to free out of his pain. So this is not a kind of himsa and is a type of ahimsa only. He knew ahimsa from the roots, and he was very influenced by ahimsa. His last visit to India was a final return in 1940. Upon his return to his homeland, he started the movement of independence in 1917 with the Champaran Satyagraha, after which he joined the Indian National Congress in 1920. The fight of Mahatma Gandhi started with the Satyagraha, a non-violent movement, a fight of truth and lawful. After coming back to India, some major people-led movements started by him, such as the Civil Disobedience Movement, Quit India Movement, Non-Cooperate Movement, and the most famous Dandi March in 1930, in which thousands of Indians joined the campaign and travelled through around 385 kilometers of foot because they had to pay unlawful taxes on the salt. So it is often called Salt March or Dandi March because it was started from the Indian village Dandi. At several points in his life, Gandhiji was imprisoned by British power or government, but he never chose the path of violence. Instead, gave his voice more power by doing strikes for days with no food. His contribution to lives of Indian people is undebatable, and we Indians are truly indebted by his sheer dedication to provide us with a free country we reside in today. He struggled through many years to provide the independence to India from the locks of British rules. It was the outcome of his struggle that India gained freedom. He made it possible not with force or violence but the message of peace. With 200 years of British rule, Indians had actually accepted the British rule as their fate and left the very thought of attaining freedom with all the failed attempts. But it was only Mahatma Gandhi that again ignited the fire of freedom in his heart of India. His actions were subtle yet influenced enough to create mass movement against British and igniting the fire of freedom in every Indian who had left enslaved for so long. Beyond his sheer dedication for the freedom of India, he was also an individual with high values. His life is a learning book on its own. Mahatma Gandhi was a firm believer of right living. Living in his life in his khadi attire, he spun his own clothes and never wasted food. Not only he made his living remarkable but also argued Indians to reduce their dependency on foreign textile. His movement favoring the adaptation of khadi led the people to adopt khadi and abandon the textile bought over the Britishers. In addition to this, Mahatma Gandhi particularly focused on the issues of cleanliness, which were never addressed before. Today, the current Prime Minister of India added on the value of Gandhi Jayanti with the launch of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, incorporate the habit of cleanliness in the people of India and not forget the values of our Bapu. Another issue about which Gandhiji was quite particular was the treatment of untouchables of that time. He was the strongest against the injustice done to so-called untouchables. It was he who addressed such people as Harijans and gave them the title of children of law. To not let the people use other bad words and disgraceful words for them. To affirm the idea, he also published journals named Harijan Sevak and Harijan Bandhu in 1933 in Gujarati, Hindi and also in English. Post-independence, he worked for unity of Hindu-Muslims, which was influenced by most. Under all these years of British rule, which was the ultimate cause for them to rule over us. He never favored the partition of India, but did it for peace of the disputed communities. On June 15, 2007, the United Nations declared Gandhi Jayanti as the International Day of Non-Violence. Every year, the Prime Minister of India pays a tribute at the Rajghat by offering flowers and prayers to his soul, alive in every Indian. Even though it